Let's take a look at those waiver wire options, and we'll start with the quarterback position. Adam sort of alluded to this, that Mike White is the best option, but Heath may disagree a little bit because there's a guy there at 43% in terms of Gardner Minshew. So, Heath, make the case for Minshew over White, and then Adam, you can counter.
Well, Gardner Minshew just scored 26 fantasy points against the Dallas Cowboys, and basically whenever he's been a full-time starter, played 100% of the snaps in his NFL career, he's been a borderline #1 quarterback. Yes, Mike White has Garrett Wilson, but Gardner Minshew has A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert. If Jalen Hurts is out again, Gardner Minshew is the top option.
I don't really dispute that. I think everybody who needs Gardner Minshew probably already picked him up. That's kind of my guess. So he may not be available in a lot of those leagues. But look, the Saints have a really good pass defense. They have not allowed 20 fantasy points to a quarterback since week 6. They just really good against the pass and bad against the run. I don't think the Eagles are going to have to throw that much. I would start Minshew over Mike White, though. I just hadn't really thought about that, I guess, when I said what I said about White. Purdy's really interesting, though, because he's playing well. Obviously, they're scheming things up beautifully for him. The Raiders are horrible. He might be my favorite of the bunch. I think between Mike White, Purdy, and Minshew, you actually do have 3 pretty good options. I hope at least one of them is available for fantasy managers.
You might have 4 if Baker Mayfield continues to play like this. Nobody's going to trust Mayfield over those other guys, but did have 21 points against the Broncos, and again, didn't have to do very much, but his players are stepping up for him, and maybe Baker in a desperate situation could help you as well. The running back options that you're looking at off the waiver wire, the first place to look would be Tyler Algier if he's available. He's running really well for the Falcons, but just over the threshold of guys we typically talk about. Keith, when it comes to Algier, would he be a must-start guy against the Cardinals?
Absolutely, I believe he would. We're seeing him get more involved. His efficiency has been incredible. He caught 4 of 5 targets, which the 5 targets was by far a career high. But it was also the first time this season they targeted him in the game and he didn't catch it. He's got a catch rate over 90%. Wouldn't be surprised to see him more involved in the passing game as well, and an absolute fantastic matchup.
The wide receivers that we're looking at off waivers, we're kind of going through this a little bit quickly, but we'll get to a lot of this on Tuesday's show and certainly on our podcast as well. Again, DJ Chark just over the threshold, did have 100 yards receiving. Brandon Cooks came back from his absence with the calf injury, scored a touchdown. We're waiting to see Mecole Hardman come back. We told you a lot about Jahan Dotson, why he was a winner. You understand why Elijah Moore is on this list now with Mike White. Romeo Doubs could benefit with the absence potentially of Christian Watson. But I want to ask you about Greg Dortch, Adam, because if McSorley starts again, we saw a big connection there. It was much more productive for Dortch than it was for Hopkins. Would you buy back into the slot receiver for the Cardinals?
Boy, I don't know what that was about. Dortch wasn't even playing before this game. The last 2 games, he didn't have any targets, any snaps, really. So this was really surprising. I don't really want to buy into it, no, but it's interesting. I think 14-team leagues and deeper, you could take a look at Dortch, but all the players on that list, he'd be toward the bottom.
Yeah, I think the quarterback matters, but also Marquise Brown's health might matter because he came into this game, they were questionable. He was the guy who had been playing all those slot snaps, so he played in a rotation out wide with A.J. Green and Robbie Anderson. If he's not 100%, maybe Dortch stays in the slot and is valuable.
And Colt McCoy could also start, but Brown was dealing with an illness. You are right there, so that could be something to look at. The tight ends that we're looking at here off the waiver wire, there's one real potential standout if he is available, and that would be Tyler Higbee, just again over the threshold, 67%. He's found the end zone quite a bit now, 3 times on Sunday, and then 1 time the week before, so finally scoring 4 touchdowns over his last 2 games with Baker Mayfield, who, again, starting or playing the majority 3 of those games. Juwan Johnson, I think, in a better spot just against Philadelphia. You don't have to worry about maybe the snow. Noah Fant did score. We'll see if Tyler Lockett's able to come back. The 3-touchdown man, Shane Zylstra, taking on the Bears. We'll see if that carries over week to week. Hard to trust. And then Mitchell Wilcox, we'll see if there is a return of Hayden Hurst. But Keith, in terms of Higbee now, Adam doesn't love him as much. Are you considering him a must-start option at this point?
I'm willing to believe in the connection with Baker Mayfield and the success that they've had. And there are just a few veterans on this team, Bobby Wagner, Higbee being one of them, that are really playing for pride right now and kind of playing the season out. And so I think he will continue to get featured in the offense.
And we'll find out. Derwin James expected to play Monday night. That can impact that matchup next week when the Chargers and the Rams face off against each other. Derwin James very good against defending